let's just thank God for people who love us and moms who care about us and moms who pray for us. Let's give the Lord a hand clap of praise for that today. There you go. Okay, now let's give a hand clap of praise in the way they really deserve it. Let's do that right now, okay? There you go. So much better. Yeah, some of you were still kind of weak out there. I hope you give your mom a bigger hug than you gave her a hand clap of praise today. Okay, so anyway, when Paul wrote Timothy, he said, I thank God whom I serve with a clear conscience, the way my forefathers did. Legacy, heritage of faith. As I constantly remember you in my prayers night and day, longing to see you, even as I recall your tears, so that I may be filled with joy. For I am mindful of the sincere faith within you, which first dwelt in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and I'm sure that is in you as well. And then later on he would say this, and there's no doubt that Paul was referring back to this statement and back to the heritage of Timothy, because behind every person who's making a difference for the kingdom, there's people behind them. Whether it be a godly mother, a godly father, or a godly friend, somebody's praying and supporting them. This is what he said. He said, you, however, continue in the things you have learned. Listen to me. Continue in the things you have learned. Great opportunity for us just to kind of reach out to young folks, young adults. I remember when I turned 18, my dad lost all of his sense. I don't know what happened. Dad got really dumb when I turned 18, and he was the smartest guy I knew up until I turned 18. But when I turned 18, Dad lost everything. I don't know. He just didn't know anything at all until I was about 25, actually, until I got married and had kids myself. Did my dad get all of his smarts back? It was an amazing thing for those years. I don't know what he did. I don't know how he worked. But all of a sudden, when I started having a family of my own, I began to realize just how brilliant my dad really, really was. I hope you can catch on to the teasing behind that when you're a young person, man, you think you know it all. You think you know it all. And I thought I knew it all. And I didn't. So this is what he says. So listen. Continue in the things you've learned. And become convinced of, knowing from whom you have learned them. And that from childhood, you've known the sacred writings which are able to give you the wisdom that leads to salvation through faith which is in Christ Jesus. A word of thanks today for moms, grandmothers, dads, fathers, all who are behind us in this effort called life, because we can't do this without you, to the praise of Jesus and to the praise of His glory. And I have said all throughout my life, there is a person who is my absolute number one fan. She's always believed in me. She believed I could do anything. She was my biggest cheerleader, my biggest support. And no, it's not my sister. It is my mother. It is my mother. So thank you, Mom, and thanks to all of our moms here today. Well, we do have special guests with us today. And it's really one of those things that we really have to do whenever they're available to us, because they don't get to come home very often. In fact, I think it might have even been before this past Christmas or around Christmas since they were home. And our church body is fully behind and support Jason and Jennifer Carroll as they are on the mission field in Haiti. And it just happens to be that when they come home, we as a church family, we need to kind of put it on pause a little bit. And we need to invite them to share, because after all, every single week, you're giving through your prayers and your support, they're helping to be maintained and sustained on the mission field. And so we are very honored to have them with us today. Jason has not been feeling well. He's had some sickness over the last 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to talk more about some of the conditions that might be causing that. Not that I'm a doctor, but we're going to talk about some ministry he's a part of and what's going on in places like Haiti. But as Jason comes up this morning and shares from his heart, here's what I'm going to ask the guys to do. Taylor, if you don't mind, because Jason's not feeling well today, we do need to dim the center lights because it does get warm up here, and we don't want Jason to not feel any worse than he already feels right now. So we're going to dim those lights, try to get a little bit cooler in here for you today, buddy. And you come on up and you share from your heart with our church family. And then in just a second, Jen's going to come with him, and they're going to share with you this morning. And then I have some questions that I'm going to ask them. We'll give that one to you, buddy. Jen, you want to sit right here? You'll be the rose among thorns right here. There you go. Do what? That is for you. Yeah, I have one right here. Yeah, I'm good. Jason, you good, buddy? Got your water? Hey, listen, let's just thank God for a second here for these folks and their service on the mission field and the fact that they're here with us today. Let's just do that and encourage them right now. Yeah, amen. Amen.
Good morning. Y'all hear me? Okay. No? Turn it on?
Speak directly into it, brother.
Okay. There we go. It's good to be here. As Brother Allen said, I've been pretty sick last week and laying in bed with Ivy all last week, so kind of wondering if I would make it to here. So I got here and I endured 4 hours of graduation ceremony yesterday, and I didn't die. And then we had a big family reunion after that. So we've had a really big day yesterday. Got some pecan pie.
Oh, wow.
So it's not so good for my stomach, but it's good for
It's good
my
for
soul.
the soul.
It's good for my soul.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I do have some issues, so if I do sporadically just leave, just letting them take over for a few minutes. So kind of like, I was thinking about an analogy, and I was thinking like, you watch Saving Private Ryan?
Yes. Yep.
And that big battle that was taking place and all the stuff that was going on, you know what that's called? That battle, if I'm not mistaken, was the Battle of the Bulge. So that it's kind of fitting to what's going on in my stomach right now. So
It could
anyway.
be TMI there,
Yeah.
Jason. Yeah.
So anyway,
We're sorry you've had a cold.
yeah. So hopefully we'll get some answers to that. So just wanted to share some of the things that God has really spoken to me over the last few months. We went through quite a bit of changes in our ministry in Haiti. For those of you that are new here, since we've been here we've been here for 13 or 14 years, but we've been there for almost 3 years now. So I think this month marks me and Cole living in Haiti for 3 years, and Jen and Callie will in September the 2nd will be the 3rd year. So we went there. Lots of things have changed over the years as we went there. Our focuses have changed, and what God has showed us through Scripture and through ministry with those people. So I just wanted to share with you. I really struggled. We went down 3 years ago with a different organization, and ended up. Y'all ever watch Toy Story or Toy Story 2? What was Barbie's name?
Barbie.
Yeah, but she had another name. It was a different. She was tour guide Barbie, and that's what we ended up being for 9 months. We were tour guide Barbie. We just went around showing, hey, this is this orphanage and this orphanage and that orphanage, and we just had back-to-back teams and all, and it just wore us out. Jen lost 20 pounds. Had a really sick. We were just so stressed, and we were just looking at our ministry and what are we actually accomplishing? Are we really doing anything? we have really cool Facebook posts, and we're always doing this and that, but handing out free stuff, and it's just not what God called us to do. So we stepped away from that. And then the next year, I taught at a Christian school called El Shaddai Learning Center. Cole and Callie got to go there. It's all English speaking school. And I got the privilege to teach the high school girls for that year. Really got to pour into them, really share a heart, really get close to that, and just really enjoyed that time. But during that time, there was this struggle that I just felt like there was something missing. And I would go home, and I would jack my truck up, work on my truck, and when I did that, I was fulfilled. And I couldn't explain it. I wrestled with that so much because that's not something that you go back and tell people that, well, I'm really happy when I work on my truck. You know, maybe in Marshall County, I don't know, but anyway, really struggle with that, like, because it's not. It sounds non-spiritual, if that's what, and I really struggle with that. And at the end of the summer, we were planning on coming back, and some changes happened at the school, and we ended up not going back to school. The kids still went to school there, but we decided not to continue teaching there. So I started working at the Baptist Mission, and for Chris at the Baptist Mission, and started doing just fixing stuff, cutting down trees, building stuff, repairing stuff, working on trucks, whatever we needed. And I was starting to feel that, like, that I had a purpose, because there are things that if things get done and things get fixed, then ministry can happen. And when things don't get done or don't get fixed, then there's a lot of ministry that can't happen because of that. So God started showing me a little bit, and then at the end of November, we were offered a position with Healing Hands International out of Nashville, Tennessee. So we took that. So through all of that, now I'm drilling wells. I have no experience whatsoever. Changing tires for my whole entire life did not prepare me any for drilling wells or installing pumps or doing plumbing and all that stuff. Totally having to rely on God for all of that. But you know, I really, not the first time, but really, really, truly deep in my soul, felt that I'm starting to make a difference. I'm starting to really be fulfilled spiritually in what I'm doing. And one of the things that helped me in Exodus chapter 31, I was looking at this a couple of months ago. There it is. And I'll read it to you. I don't know if it'll be on the screen or not.
It'll be there.
Okay, just have faith.
Have faith.
Okay. All right. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, and this was after Moses went up on Mount Sinai. He got the 10 Commandments, and then God gave him 5 chapters of, I want you to build this, I want you to build this, I want you to make this, I want you to make this. And for 5 very long chapters, he told Moses what he was going to do. And I was thinking about how overwhelming that would have been for Moses to be like, a month ago I was herding sheep, you know. And so God tells him in chapter 31, verse 2, he says, "See, I have called by the name Bezalel." You can tell I didn't go to seminary. The son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. I have filled him with the Spirit of God and wisdom and understanding and knowledge and all kinds of craftsmanship, to make artistic designs for work in gold and silver and bronze, and in the cutting of stones for settings, and in the carving of wood, that he may work in all kinds of craftsmanship. And behold, I myself have appointed with him, Holiab, I think,
Holiab.
the son
Something
of
like that.
Adam. That's where we go. Of the tribe of Dan. And in the hearts of all who are skillful, I have put skill, that they may make all that I commanded you. And that really changed my outlook when I read that. I've read it before. I was probably about asleep by the time I got through all the rest of it. And there are people that actually have been given gifts, and because they have been given gifts to work with their hands, that other ministries happen. And that's what God started showing me. And we see it. I mean, we see it here in this body. We really see it on the mission field. When a truck is broken down and you can't fix it, you can't go out and drill wells. You can't go out and do ministry. You can't get to church and minister to the people. There's so many things that area, it breaks down. And we don't have AAA. We don't have a Ford dealership or a Chevy dealership to go to. We have to fix it wherever it breaks down. So if it's on the side of the mountain, we just go and we have to fix it on the side of the mountain with whatever tools that we can find. So I just, through that, that just really sank into me and really changed my perspective of the struggle that I've been having over the last 3 years with what is God's doing in my life and where He's pointing me and the direction He's taken me and my family and how we are struggling to do this and to do that. And there's just so much that needs to be done that has to actually be done with our hands for ministry to take place. So that was just something that God really laid on my heart. And I just wanted to share that with you to kind of understand where we're coming from. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations, and maybe it's not ever said. It may just be in our minds, but that we're supposed to be doing this and doing that and all this stuff. And we'll just sit back and look and see what is God actually calling us to do, and how is our ministry affecting people, or is it affecting them eternally, or is it just making us feel good? So to give you a little glimpse, this is our family that lives with us. That's Callie. She's right there. Cole is there, but I don't know where he is here. He's in the back. Okay. He's working with Taylor. That is Rosalind and Edison. And we got Edison when he was 10 days, or when we had been to Haiti for 10 days. We got him when he was just a few hours old. His mom died.
And Jason, if you don't care, I'm going to let Jennifer tell that story, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
From the mom's perspective, since it is Mother's Day. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that'd be awesome for folks to hear what happened with Eddie, because one of my questions today was going to be, who are Eddie and Rosalind? And the two additional children in the picture there. So I would love to hear Jen. Sorry, Jason, but nobody can tell it like a mom. Amen.
He also forgot Chantry, and we're really proud of Chantry for graduating. Graduating Murray State University with a double major. So very proud of him. But we had been in Haiti for 10 days as a family. We had to sell our house, and so I couldn't come down with him, and so the rest of us all arrived as a family September the 2nd. Eddie was born on September the 11th, and sometime in the night, he was born, and in the wee hours of the morning, his mother passed away. They could not get her to the hospital fast enough, and she hemorrhaged and died as soon as they arrived at the hospital. So over the course of time, I found out that she was a really good mother to the family. She worked really hard She put the children in the best school that was around. So I think all of the money that she earned every day went to the school, the kids to go to school. So there's Rosalyn, and she is 15. There are also 3 brothers that live with Dad, younger brothers, 13, 10, and 6 years old. And they had wanted us to take all of the children, but we didn't feel good about that. We just took in Eddie temporarily. But if anyone's ever kept a baby, it's very hard not to fall in love with that baby. And there wasn't anyone that could take care of him either. None of the aunts, wanted the baby. Rosalyn was just 13. Apologize. And so it would have been a big responsibility for her to take care of the baby along with her brothers. She would have dropped out of school to be able to do that. So Dad didn't have a job, and so we took the baby in. We put the children in another school close to us where we could watch them and help them. They came up every day for breakfast, and Rosalyn stayed during the day and bathed the baby and helped feed the baby and things like that. So she became a part of the baby's life also. And then she would go off to school for the day. So then when we moved, it was under the suggestion of the director, that was the Haitian director that was there, that said it would be best if you took her with you. A young girl without a mother living in that area would not have been a good thing for her. And there were older boys that lived at the house, and so it wouldn't have been good. So she lives with us. She does homeschool. She does the ACE program, American Christian Education. She's learned English. And Eddie is almost 3 now. He's a bundle of joy, and we can't imagine our life without him. We have tribunal custody of the children. The boys come and visit us on vacations, so we're a big part of the family. We just rented a piece of land for the father to grow crops on so that he can support boys. We do support them with school, along with other things. And we are going to pursue adoption with Eddie. But it's a slow process, and it's very difficult down there to find an honest person.
And the way I understand this, and just so everyone here can put this into perspective, you're on the mission field for how long when Eddie's born?
10 days.
10 days, you've moved to a country you've never lived in before. The birth mother dies, and a baby is placed in your arms.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
What do you do? I was kind of at a loss of words. Later, it's happened. It happened, and we assisted family members with formula and diapers and things like that. But there wasn't any direct family member that wanted the baby, so that's why we ended up watching over him.
Yeah, and for
he's
those of us who know Jason and Gina, we've known them for years. When you say a baby's placed in your arms, what do you do? We know what they would do. The very thing that they have done is take care of those children. And the way I understand it, too, is in this process of hopefully adopting Eddie. And one of the things you can pray for today is pray that they can get a passport for Eddie. Because right now, there's somebody else back there at their base who's taking care of Eddie. And it's a tough situation. It's another Haitian lady who's doing that, and they hate to be away from him. So if we could pray that God would grant that passport, expedite that process, and the next time that they come here to be with us, they can hopefully have Eddie. And the way I understand it there is Rosalyn is too old. So if they wanted to adopt her, they'd say, oh, she's too old. But if they adopt Eddie, then they grant grace in regards to Rosalyn, and there's a possibility that then Rosalyn could come along and they could possibly adopt her as well. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just looking at guardianship and a visa. We're trying to get Rosalind through school, and if we aren't able to adopt her, we want to get her over here so that she can go to a university. We're trying to push school for her. She's working really hard. She's gone from the 3rd grade to middle of 5th grade since September. So, and that's, she didn't know English before, and she's doing an English curriculum, so we're really excited about that. But that's our goal, is to get that visa so we can travel. It's very difficult. If any of you out there, mothers, you have a baby, he's been ours since the few hours old, and so he's like our very own, and to have to leave your baby, go on vacation or whatever, it's very difficult.
Jason, we'll give Jen a break here. Since moving to Haiti, what is one of the most significant ways God has answered your prayers?
I can answer this one.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Well, living in Haiti is very difficult. It's very, very hot, and there's not a lot of comforts, conveniences, and this is just a little simple thing while Jason thinks of a spiritual thing. But
It's all spiritual,
for me,
right?
For me, it's so hot there. In the summer, at night, we're trying to go to bed. I'm laying there saying, I'm so hot. I mean, you're just pouring sweat. And so for us, we're so thankful. We moved, we were able to join Healing Hands International and still also be a part of Heart of God International. 2 wonderful ministries. That is such a blessing for us. We have 2 wonderful directors that don't mind that we have both of them, and it's a wonderful partnership. But also, they have air conditioning. We have air conditioning in our bedroom. all of us, all the bedrooms have air conditioning, and we have instant hot water. So if you've ever had to take a cold bucket bath, you're really thankful of that hot water.
Well, let's talk about water for just a second, and I'll let you answer the question too. Jason, folks here may not know this. Water covers 70% of our planet. It's easy to think that water is plentiful, it's always going to be there. However, fresh water, the stuff we drink, bathe in, irrigate our farm fields with, fresh water is actually rare on the planet. Only 3% of the world's water is fresh water, and 2/3 of that 3% is tucked away in frozen glaciers and otherwise unavailable to us. As a result of that, right now today, some 1.1 billion people worldwide lack access to water. And a total of 2.7 billion find water scarce for at least 1 month of the year. Inadequate sanitation is also a problem for 2.4 billion people. They're exposed to diseases because of this. Diseases such as cholera, did I say that right? Cholera, sorry. Typhoid fever, and other waterborne illnesses. You may not know this. 2 million people, mostly children, die each year from diarrheal diseases alone. 2 million children every year die. Not because they're abused or slain or they have cancer, but simply because they don't have what you got up and used several times this morning, fresh water. As a Christian community, as our hearts go out for people on this planet, it behooves us to have a concern to alleviate suffering in people's lives, and then through that, share the gospel of Jesus. That's what alleviates the suffering of the soul. Amen? So God's been using Jason to dig wells. And Jason, how many wells have you been a part of digging up to this point?
We started in December, but the guy that actually drills the wells, that runs the rig, didn't come till the middle of January. So we are on 37 or 38 wells so far this year. That has, it's hard to say how many, but I'm guessing, I didn't look at the numbers, I didn't pull up all of my information, but I'm thinking we have provided fresh water, clean water to 20 to 25,000 people this year alone. So it's just amazing. You can pull up. There's Cole is in the back looking kind of sad, but Callie is. When we go to these places, we always share the gospel. We've had 3 people to get saved at a well site.
Amen.
But we know that we're planting seeds. If you'll go to a slide with the well.
Yeah, they had it just there. You go.
Right there. That is what we put in. It's a concrete base. It's a 4-inch PVC pipe. It could be up to 300 feet deep. We can't hand pump physically. We can't hand pump any more than about 270 to 280 feet. So if the water doesn't rise any more than that, we just can't pump it with a hand pump. The seals and everything just won't last. But we started doing this, and a guy they told me that, because I said, how am I supposed to, I'm supposed to go out and find all these sites, okay, for putting in a well. And these are gravel roads. They don't even show up on Google Maps. We just have to drive around, and I'm like, how am I? They said, trust me, people will just stop you. I was like, there's no way. So we're driving one day. We were drilling wells in this certain area, and we just kept getting dry hole after dry hole. And these people stopped us, and they said, we need to take you to this place. There's lots and lots of people that live here, and they don't have any water. So I said, okay, I'll meet you tomorrow beside the drill rig. So these 3 guys climb in our vehicle. I don't know who they are. I don't know. I can't speak to them. They talk too fast in a different language. And but we go out and we drive another hour and a half or so, and we get to this village. And there's 14,000 people in this village, and there's not one single well. Nobody in the history of the whole country has ever drilled a well in this place. And very few white men have ever stepped foot in this place. And so we start talking with one of the pastors there, and then the village leader. It's called a Kazakh. It's kind of like a constable, kind of. He enforces the law and stuff. And we went around to different sites, and they take a machete and chop a stick off of a tree and drive it in the ground with a rock, and then place a rock and then spray paint it, and that's how we mark our sites. And then I do a little more, not as primitive as that. I plug it in my phone with a GPS coordinate, so the driller knows to come in the area. So that area we have saturated because a well like this will roughly serve. It's supposed to serve about 300 people, but it usually about 1,000 people that get their water. And you'll see there's a little girl with a yellow bucket on her head.
Yeah, they had that up there.
They'll every single bit of their water, they'll come. They were going to the river is the closest water source they had, and sometimes it was over a mile and a half, 2 miles to go to the river, and they had to bring every bit, what they were going to cook with, what they were going to bathe with, what they were going to wash clothes with. Everything came from the river. So we're able to go into these places, and you can imagine a place of 14,000 people, and we dig one well and leave, what's going to happen? They start fighting. People start going to the hospital and everything else. So we start putting We go to the schools and we go to the churches. We put it on public property where they can't close it up and lock it, because every once in a while they'll do that. But we completely supply these wells. It is at no cost to them. They just need to provide us with sand and gravel and water. And a lot of times they'll bring water on donkeys. They'll pack it, whatever. But we'll put these in, and we try to space them out ever so often so that we can get more water to the different places. And
Listen, guys, I know we could talk for another couple of hours about their ministry, and I want you guys, if you're on Facebook, please go find the Carroll family on Facebook and learn more about their ministry. Your faithful giving to this body and through this body helps support them and sustain them on the mission field. I'm going to have Jason and Jen to come to the altar this morning. Won't y'all go ahead and stand with us, please? And we want to pray over them before they leave today. And I want you to encourage them. Let's have your family, your children to come as well. And thank you guys for sharing so much. And again, go find them on Facebook. They also are going to send us monthly mission reports so that people who don't have Facebook can know what's going on and be able to pray for you. So let's start coming around them right now. And let's have a time of prayer over them and a time of sharing and